forgot that I did, and that they're not on my CV.
CV.
Couture Invité or something like that. It's like the creative's resume. It's basically like the list of all the jobs you've ever worked on.
Yeah. Is that a long list for you?
For me it's actually a pretty long list. Not for nothing. I must toot my own horn too.
No, toot away.
Tooting away. My CV is pretty long. Like whenever I would send it over to some people that I wanted to interview with or work for, they would usually be impressed by my CV, especially when they would know or find out how young I was.
Yeah.
They're like, wow, you've done a lot of work for, your age. I'm like, thank you, I know.
Yeah, you're definitely hungry. Oops, let me lower that down. What the hell? It's like, God, just turn it down. Anyway, yeah, man. I remember you were very hungry. Because I know we worked together, too, in the beginning of, like, when I was taking photos and stuff. Like, I don't know if you remember, we had a photo shoot.
Yes, I do remember that in downtown.
Yeah.
Right. It's kind of cool. I'm trying to remember. Oh, my God. Like, I just remember... It was funny because I remember we were shooting outside of my mom's office building, which is like right on Washington, right across from the Westin.
Yeah, we were like using the reflective windows and shit.
I had like my gray purple hair. That was many moons ago.
Yeah, some dope ass fucking shades, man. That's what I remember too. He's like,
oh, they were like big black cat eyes, or they were white cat eyes. I don't know. I was really into cat eyes at that point, but I just remember they were big and oversized, and they were like pointy at the end.
Yeah, they were dope. I remember just like, put them on, man. Come on, let's get this shot real quick.
I vaguely remember the outfit too. It was like black shorts. I had these really cheap black shoes that I ordered online from, I don't even know what website anymore, but they were like probably like $14 for the shoes. And then a striped button down. Or a stripe. Something was striped.
It was striped, yeah.
Something was striped. I don't remember what was striped, but something was striped.
It was the top. Because I actually was looking at my Tumblr recently. Like, I was talking to a friend and we were talking about Tumblr, and I told him, like, yeah, I used to have like all my work posted up there. It's kind of like the visual resume. And I found those photos on there.
Oh my God, what you have to show me.
Yeah, I'll show you later. It's pretty cool. But Vic, thank you for coming on.
Oh, yeah, we start.
It's a pleasure having you. Yeah, we're rolling already. So Vic, just tell me a bit about yourself, like what you do and what you like to do. Just a little taste of who you are to the people.
Oh, God, I'm never good at this question. It's such a vague and open-ended question for me. But let's see what I can come up with.
Yeah, it's so interesting. I think it's interesting because it's like now you have to think like, okay, who am I in like a sentence or two? But you can elaborate here.
Yeah, like sometimes I get like a mini existential crisis when I get asked these questions. I'm like, who am I? What do I like to do? But it's like, because it's a lot.
Yeah.
Or I could go on and drone on for like hours and hours about this stuff. Or I could have half a sentence and not know what to say, but I'm not.
And then it's set in stone. Whatever you say, God, you just said it.
There.
You seem like you get nervous.
I get so nervous so easily.
No, but it seems like, okay, so yeah, we all have so many interests in our lives, and it seems like the one that you promote and push the most is that you're like a stylist and you're into fashion and you're into design, right?
Oh, absolutely. Okay, so styling is most of my thing. Well, fashion in general is my thing. It's always like, ever since I was little, I feel like this is such a cliche statement to say, but like even when I was 3 years old, I remember I used to live across the street from a library, and my mom and I would go there every single weekend, or we would go after school sometimes. And I would refuse to walk out to cross the street into the library if it wasn't an outfit that I liked. Like I remember one time she tried making me wear this like orange fuzzy sweater, which if I think about it now, it would actually probably be really cool. It was like bright orange and like
now you appreciate it.
Now I appreciate it. If I wore that, and like I wish I had a picture of myself in that sweater that I used to think was god awful, but
tastes change, huh? You like appreciate things later sometimes.
That's a lot of, I feel like that's the statement that people tell me or that you hear a lot, and like you would think it affects your style or like how you carry yourself as a person in general. Oh God, here I am rambling again. But yeah, tastes change. And yeah, so anyways, back to that. I've always been into what I wore, and I was always very self-conscious about what I wore. But I think that came from my parents, because both my parents were very fashionable and stylish.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
My father, he was, I guess because he was always on the smaller, like slimmer side, he'd be able to like borrow his sister's jeans and like they would borrow each other's clothes.
They would share clothes together.
They would share clothes,
wow,
like jeans
that's
and
like
stuff.
really progressive. That's like really progressive thinking there.
Yeah. Like, I guess it was also just because my father was able to fit in their clothes and, to save money. He's like, oh yeah, I'm going to just borrow my sister's jeans or whatever.
And sometimes, women's pants sometimes fit like nice, like it depends on who's your style, like what your taste is. But I know my friend Merlin, I think you might know him. Like, he's told me before that he has these women jeans, but they look nice on him. It's like, you wouldn't think, it's just labels anyway.
It is just labels. Like, I mean, this is a men's shirt. I don't even know what it is or where it's from.
They're like a dragon.
It's like a dragon, like a Japanese style tattoo thing. But this is definitely from the men's section. I got it from Beacon's Closet, but I never saw like men's or women's clothes. I mean, I did. Of course I did. But I feel like, especially as I got older, I'm like, I began to appreciate and learn to step out of the box more and see like, I don't have to limit myself to just women's clothes, even though when it comes to women's clothing is so much more expansive and women have a lot more options, which is why I give props to men, especially like what men can dress, because it's like, you guys don't really have any options. It's like shirts, button downs, sweaters, hoodies, and pants.
Yeah, the way the world, at least society works, they've given us a simpler choice.
Silhouettes. Yeah. But yeah, back to that whole progressive thing with my father.
Yeah, no, I think that's really cool that he was like, oh yeah, I'll throw those on. Those look fucking dope. They fit me.
Yeah. He was always into his clothes. He like collect Jordans and like Air Maxes back in the day, like in the 90s and the 80s and whatever. And my mom, she was always like fashionable. Like she told me like when she could afford it back in the day, like in the 60s or whatever. Oh God, is that bad that I exposed my mom's age? Whatever.
Imagine. She texts you, why did you do that? It was a secret till now.
I tell everybody because I love talking about how my parents are like on the older side, but they look young for their age. And how my parents, just like the whole story about my parents and like when they had me and whatever. Anyways, that's another topic.
We'll get there.
We'll get there. Yeah, like she was always fashionable, and she said that even when I was a baby, she would go shopping, like go crazy shopping for me. So I guess it was always just in my blood, and it was just deeply ingrained into me even as a child.
That's so funny because I start thinking about Leandro and like how you probably dress him and you go shopping with him and you're possibly passing down that same sort of experience.
See, if it wasn't for this whole COVID thing, like I would be going all out so much more for him. But it's like we're home, so he's just in pajamas, to be honest. Like,
he's keeping it for now. He's keeping it simple.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I would, and I totally, especially like if I can afford it. Baby clothes are so expensive.
Are they? Yeah, I've never shopped for baby clothes yet.
They're not super expensive, but they add up. Especially like the fact that they only last for like a month or two.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they literally have like 6-month outfits and then 8-month, right? Like,
yeah, they're like 6,
what's
9,
that change like?
12. Oh my God! Especially like you don't know how your baby's gonna grow. Like I had no idea that my son was gonna grow at an like really really fast rate. Like the child went. I mean, he was born a bigger baby, but like even when even now, like he's only a year and like 3 weeks old, but he's like wearing 18-month, 24-month clothes. He's just huge. So that's why I'm like,
he's fucking adorable, man.
Thank you.
He's one of the coolest kids I know. I don't know a lot of babies though. My baby cousin is pretty cool.
I'm sure
it's just family. I have to say it's cooler than your bit, like because his family's cooler than your baby. But
it's totally understandable. You always have to say, my cousin or my niece or my nephew is the coolest baby I know. It's always you always gotta say that. Obviously, I'm gonna be like, bias. My kid's the coolest kid that I know.
That's bias, a little bit biased, but no, that's pretty dope. That like your mom was already kind of in this world of having like a lot of taste with her clothing, and she would like bring you along, and then here you are doing the same thing, but like
now it's like my thing. It's like my career goals. I don't know. Career,
it's a part of that. It's a part of that vision board, right?
Yeah.
Like,
it's definitely like, you know, like when I was younger, I had those dreams of like wanting to be a vet and wanting to be a singer or a dancer or a chef or whatever, or like even a scientist at some point. But I think it was in like the 4th grade, and I got this like those like activity book things that they do for girls, and there was like one for like sports, one for like science or whatever, I don't know, and then one was for fashion, and I bought the fashion one because it was the prettiest colors, and I was like, oh, I like
it's like
clothes.
flashy.
It was flashy, and then I was like, it was like orange and purple, and I was like, oh, I really like that, and I like clothes, so let me get this book. So I got it, and like it would prompt you to like draw outfits and whatever, and I was like, oh, I really like this, and then that's when I decided I want to be a fashion designer, because obviously, like, you know, when you think of fashion, the first career you think of is fashion designer, even though the world of fashion and the jobs that are available in the fashion world, there's so many.
Yeah, there's a lot of different pieces to it.
Yeah, like there's like even the business side alone, like the business world of fashion is so large, and there's so many different careers within that, under that umbrella. So like fashion is just a big thing. Like when people think fashion, again, like you think fashion designer, you don't think of like stylist, creative director. You don't think of
I think of designer almost immediately.
Yeah,
I think about the runway. Once I hear fashion, I just think about the models.
Yeah, that's like the automatic thing that you think of. But there's so many people behind that. It's obviously more than just the designer. There's like the pattern makers. There's the seamstresses. There's, you know, there's the technical parts, and then there's the people who are in the business side of it. Because you know, you can't just be a designer.
100%, yeah. There's
like,
a
just
whole
because you
production.
can draw clothes doesn't make you a fashion designer, or it doesn't mean you're going to be a successful, like, you're going to have a successful line or brand. There's so much more to it, and that's where all the other people on the team comes in. But yes, and that's where Stylist comes in at some point towards the end. So that's where
Vic.
That's where I and people in my part of the industry come in.
Well, I have a question too, because I know, I feel like the fashion world is almost similar to acting, where it's like, it's pretty competitive, and it's like who you know and things like that. Like getting into it, is my perception of that wrong? Like, how was it going into the industry? Like, so accurate,
so accurate. It's almost like it really doesn't matter. Like, so backtrack. When I was younger, I thought I wanted to go to FIT. You know, Fashion Institute of Technology, one of the most revered, one of like the first schools you think of when you think of fashion. And I always wanted to go there, but then when I decided that I want, you know, they're obviously one of their biggest programs is for fashion design, and they have different subcategories or subdivisions within their fashion design. But when I came to the conclusion I wanted to be a stylist, and this is after learning how much work really goes into being a fashion designer, I came to the conclusion that I'm not good at creating things.
It's very handsy. It's very hands-on, like regardless of the drawing.
Yeah, it's like drawing and then sewing, and then you have to know how to make patterns, and that involves a lot of technicality and like
putting it all together.
Oh, there's so much to it that, because so when I was in high school, I was in the fashion program, my high school in County Prep, and most of the program was design based. So we did like a little bit of sketching, but most of it was like sewing and pattern making and drafting and stuff. And that's where I learned. I'm like, oh no, this is too much. I don't know how to do this. Like, I like this, and I still want to do something with this, but this was not I was mentally prepared for. So that's when I really came to the conclusion that I didn't want to be a designer anymore, because most of my life, even though most of my life was fashion, or I knew like I'm pursuing fashion, it wasn't design. It was like when I was around 13 when I was like, okay, I want to be a stylist because I like putting outfits together. That was really my thing. I was like, oh, I'm not really one of those people. Ooh, feed my child.
Oh man, responsible.
My alarm to feed my child. It's okay. Lola's gonna feed him.
You want to text anyone?
No.
Okay.
I think that's just an alarm that I forgot to turn off, and it's just there to remind me of like what time it is, because I lose track of time so easily.
Yeah, as the day goes on.
Oh God, you can't even imagine. Anyways,
that's why I have a watch too, because like
I used to wear watches, but I wore watches as bracelets, basically.
Yeah.
I don't know how to tell time. Ask me. I would literally wear 3.
It tells you wear 3.
I would literally wear like 2 watches sometimes. Have I ever worn 3? I might have worn 3 at some point.
Have you had the iWatch? The is that what it is? From Apple, right? Yeah.
No. I mean like regular like analog watches. Like, but they would have nice bands. Like it would be like a lime green band with a gold face.
Right. So that makes sense.
I would literally wear it as like a bracelet. So people would ask me like, "Oh, what's the time?" And I'm like, "Oh, my phone. I don't know. My phone." They're like, "You have a watch right there," and I'm like,
"Yeah, it's that." But it was the analog, right?
It was analog.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So those are like a little more work to like be like, okay, there's the arm. Where's the arm?
Like,
it's 3, 30,
like, it's
36.
46.
Is the arm on the? It's in between 2. It's like
oh god,
45.
Yeah. No, that's why whenever I wear one, they are prettier because it's like the digital watches, unless it's like a Casio, but even then, like those are kind of sometimes.
Yeah. That's funny.
They just look nicer.
Yeah, you sacrifice like knowing the time for just style, for fashion, just to have it. Yeah.
That's me in a nutshell. I mean, at least is what I really do like, but. Oh God, where was I going with this again?
Well, I think you were talking about in high school.
Oh yeah. When I came to the conclusion, like after seeing how much work really goes into being a designer, I was like, no. I'm sticking to styling. Like I'm gonna pursue styling. And then so once I got to like junior, senior year, when you're preparing to go to college and whatever, I was trying to look up fashion styling programs, and you couldn't really find any. Like they didn't have one at FIT.
What year was this too? I'm really bad.
2013, 2012, 13. Okay. I graduated 2014 in high school. So around that time was when I was like trying to look into programs, and I didn't really see any. Like they didn't have any at FIT, they didn't have any at Parsons, they didn't have anything at FIDM, even though that's in California. And then the only ones I could find was at like Istituto Marigioni or some shit like that out in Italy, or they had another program in
yeah, you're not gonna go out to Italy. Yeah,
I mean that would have been cool, but
that would be dope. That would be dope. It would be a whole different experience.
That would have been such an experience.
Yeah, like exchange students and stuff. Like
yeah, am I regretting my path now?
No, man. But there is probably an alternate universe where you're chilling. Because you went there. You're like, it's so funny though, like these choices we made in our lives, you know, and how they set these paths. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I think about that all the time. Like, did that one decision like completely alter my path in life? Probably did, but like, would it have been so much better if I had chosen that one instead? But then I can't do that because I'm gonna hyperfixate on those things, and
yeah, that's the negative part of overthinking. Like overthinking can be beneficial, but then it's just like you can't change the past.
I take overthinking to a whole new level. I overthink breathing.
Oh my God. Why? Is it just because life sometimes is fucking...
My brain is just like, how...
Is it constantly going? Like stream of consciousness?
12,000 miles an hour every 5 seconds. I think so fast that I can't even process my thoughts, or like everything I'm saying right now, I'm not thinking. It's just happening. Whatever's going on.
That's why I like this medium. Like it is very stream of conscious. Like you just talk, and like, you know, if you say something wrong, it's like, oh, whoops. But it's like a free flow. You know, it's a free flow. It makes me feel a little more relaxed too, because it's like I'm not overthinking anything that I have to say or like.
That's why I like talking about this. Like when it comes to like a more formal conversation, I feel like I have to, my brain at least is like forcing me to be more calculated, and like I end up not saying anything because I think I end up thinking too much about what I'm going to say or how I'm going to explain that answer. So
yeah, man, I'm been there. I'm there pretty often where like I don't want to say the wrong thing, so like I'm like adjusting. Like if imagine like your thoughts were like a physical thing you could see, like a floating screen, it'd be like adjusting. Like your phrases,
word, and then I'm just like, wait, what? No,
this is better. Okay. You just throw the whole thing.
It's like, never mind. Fuck it, I'm not gonna say anything. Never mind. Damn it.
Yeah, no, it's weird. But then like, what's difficult is like we need to be able to communicate very well. Like, you know, I know as a stylist, like forming these shoots and these ideas and things like that, you need to be able to discuss very clearly, right?
It's so hard, but it's also why it's a good thing. I mean, at least for me, it's easy to speak. I struggle speaking, like in general, like communicating my regular thoughts, or just talking to people. Like even right now, I'm kind of struggling when it comes to talking about like fashion and clothes. I feel like that comes the most natural for me. Like talking about like the structure or the silhouette or like how I think the colors play well with each other, stuff like that. Like that I can do, and that's why when it comes to communicating like ideas, like for like when I'm presenting a concept to a photographer or to a client, it's just like, hey, like, or sometimes I don't even need words. Sometimes it's just purely visual. Like if I'm making a mood board, and then like I'll just put some stuff together. Like I'll put some visuals, and then I'll send it over, and people are like, oh, this is cool. I get it. Yeah, that's the one thing I love about fashion is that because I'm not good at words, which is why like I can never be a doctor or I can never be like what at some point I wanted to be a
criminal justice lawyer or something like that.
You said lawyer.
Oh,
never a lawyer.
Yeah, that you have to be good with words. My defendant is guilty. I mean, not guilty. He's not guilty. Wait a second.
Under penalty of whatever. See, I already don't know.
Let me get my book. Let me get my book. You walk over. You're like, hang on, Judge. 1 second.
Wait. This. Oh, sorry. What I meant in that last statement, I meant this instead.
This is it. Yeah, and then by then it's too late.
It's too late. My client's already guilty.
They already decided. But it's good post, right? It's good post to realize like, oh, I should have said that.
Yeah, oh, that's my biggest thing. Oh my God. Like,
I should have said that.
I should have said this, or I should have done that. Or most of it's said. Like, I should have said that instead. Oh God. Like when I watch this back later, I know I'm be like, damn, I should have said that instead. But oh well.
Yeah. Well, it's good. It's good to pick up on it, and then I think because I did the same thing too. Like when I listen to these, I listen to them because I also want to improve on like the next one. Oh no, you're good. It's really sensitive shit. But I listen to them because I want to improve for the next one, you know. So like I hear like how I ask questions or like my attention, like am I there completely or do I like deter or do I make a joke that just throws shit off and it's like why did I do that, you know? So I really listen to myself, which is a good thing. That's how you get better for the next thing that you're gonna be a part of.
That's a good thing about like that whole editing thing. Like when you're editing or like when you're reviewing your work, like you get to see like, oh, what can I have done better or what can I do better for the next time? That's why like when it comes to shoots and stuff, I feel like I'm one of those people that always like overthink it. I'm like whenever I do anything, I overthink it. But like especially when I'm doing a shoot, I'm like because I'm so much harder on myself because I'm like this is what I want to do. This is what I live to do. Mm-hmm. Of course, I want to produce nothing short of a perfect piece. So when I look back at things and I'm like, oh, I could have used this belt instead, or oh, I didn't remember to steam that part of the dress as well as I should have, or like, oh, I forgot to move her earring out of the way so it was laying perfectly. Mm-hmm. And then looking at little things like that like piss me off, or just be like, oh God, like why did I do that, or why didn't I think to do that? It makes me more aware for the next time, for the next shoot, where I'm like, okay, now you're more aware of these things. Like, make sure everything is steamed properly. Make sure you watch when the model's moving in between shots.
Like something moves.
Make sure that the collar is always placed properly. Make sure you tape it down in place. That's like another thing. Like all these like little tips and tricks and stylist hacks.
Mm-hmm.
That's fucking whiskey.
That's whiskey.
Yeah, there's something I really like about whiskey. It's just, to me, the smoothest experience of getting drunk. You know, like if the goal is to get drunk, you know, it's also nice to get casual tipsiness that it kind of brings, but I don't like light liquor. To me is like, it just doesn't taste good. Yeah. And it's more for party shit. That's why it's like once I'm in the moment, I can do it. But if I have an option, I'll be like,
this is definitely more like a chill and sip kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like whiskey. But when it comes to like, I mean, I guess because most of the time when I was drinking, it was because I was out trying to, you know, dance and shake some ass. And just like,
shake some fucking, yeah. And that's where that light liquor comes in.
Yeah.
Keeps you light, but also drunk.
Oh, yeah. See, no, dark liquor makes, I mean, I used to be a whiskey girl, but then I was also a whiskey out on the streets kind of girl. And then that's why when I had a bad experience with whiskey, and yeah, that's why I deterred.
Oh, man.
I went to the light.
You went to the light.
I went to the light.
That's a good song by Common too. I don't know if you know
Which
that
one?
song. The light.
Yeah.
There are times when you need someone. Yeah, I will be by your side. Oh, no. Well, that's not even Common. He sampled that, but I forget the name of that artist.
Wait, you're right. I do remember hearing that was the same. And I feel like I have heard the original, but I didn't pay attention.
It's so good. Mel showed it to me. I didn't really think about looking up the sample. It's such a good song. Both of them, you know. That's
the original and Commons.
And Commons, yeah. His flow in that song is just amazing. But I digress. Okay, shit. I tried to make a note of what you said. You said it's like the harder you think, the more you forget.
Oh,
it's one of those things. But I think we were touching on a little bit of like the aspects of of a shoot. So you were talking about like these tips and tricks.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I remember seeing like behind the scenes of like this movie Lost in Translation. It's by Sofia Coppola, and it's with Bill Murray and Scarlett Johansson, and they're like in Tokyo or some shit, and it's like a really weird kind of like lovey-dovey romance movie, but not really. It's like these two aimless people that are just trying to like kind of find, I guess, a purpose. Bill Murray's older and he's, I guess, like jaded, and then Scarlett Johansson's like young and just kind of lost, doesn't know what she wants to do. She's there like with her boyfriend and he's like on a gig or something, so she's just alone in Tokyo. But anyway, Bill Murray plays this character who's basically, I guess, like sort of like based on him. He's like a celebrity and he's doing like commercials in Tokyo. And like the way they had his suit pressed, they had like clips.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They had like clips on the back to keep it tight and pressed. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Like you see the front of the shot, it's like you never think that
You
shit.
would have no idea.
What else sort of stuff do they do to kind of perfect like clothing? Make it a lie.
So, well, one is steaming. That's like the most important thing. Like just to de-wrinkle everything. Like that's like the simplest but most effective thing in my opinion.
Super key.
Oh yeah, it's like
better than ironing.
Oh,
like I should get a steamer.
Oh yeah,
instead of
just
an
a steamer.
iron. Okay.
Yeah, like I feel like ironing is really only for like pants and like. Do you iron suits? Do people iron suits? I don't know. I should probably know this.
That's risky. Yeah, you should know me. Yeah, I mean, as a dude, I should know it too. We're both like we should know.
We should know.
We should know this.
This is embarrassing. Hopefully,
do you iron suits?
This anyways. Yeah, so like steaming for sure because it's like you can steam anything without risking damaging it. I mean, just total risk of damage because boiling hot steam could fuck up some stuff real quickly. Like, oh god, one time I kind of fucked up like a $300 something, not $300, more like an $800-900 gown.
On like a shoot
while no, it wasn't on shoot. It wasn't on set. It was I'm not gonna mention who because that could get me in some trouble. But it was for like a celebrity appearance, and
I'm sorry to hear that.
And I was steaming the gowns that she was trying on for her appearance, and one of I guess the steamer that I use. Oh, that's another thing. That when you steam, you can't just use regular tap water because the minerals in the tap water, especially if the steamers are kind of old, it can cause like rust to spit out and ruin the gown. And that's what I did.
Oh my god!
Oh, like
it's like shit you wouldn't think about though.
Yeah, little things you think like, oh, water. I'm just gonna go to the sink over there. Nope,
it's
you can't
just
do
water.
that. You can, but you risk ruining a $900 gown.
Yeah, I don't know what I would do in that situation.
Yeah, no, I kind of just like. Thankfully, we ended up using totally different dresses. I had to do everything anyways, so I was just like steaming it, and I was like, oh god, it was like a bright. I think it was like a bright yellow dress too. So you could like totally see it.
Yeah, it's one of those colors, right? You see any imperfection.
Oh god,
it's like wearing white.
Oh yeah, it was like you saw it like when you hung it. Thankfully, everybody was so busy that nobody really noticed, and we used something totally different. So I was like, okay.
Oh my god.
I'm not gonna notice.
Oh man, that's a nightmare.
But yeah.
But you don't have a lot of those, right? Is it usually like a cool smooth time on set, or
on set
you fight a lot of different shit that comes out?
It usually gets very hectic on set, especially like for bigger productions. Like so like most of my experience was on set for like Vogue international shoots. So like Vogue Japan, Vogue Russia, Vogue Germany, Italy, Brazil, Japan. If I said that already. A whole bunch of them.
Did that require traveling, or was that like on site in the city?
It was always in the city. For the most part. I mean, sometimes we would travel to like upstate for certain shoots. But for the most part, we were like in studios like Milk and Pier 15. Oh my god.
Pier. Like I think I know what you're talking about, but I'm not gonna.
Is it Pier 59?
I'm not gonna answer.
Oh god.
I don't know.
This is one of the things I should look up. Oh my
I'm
god.
gonna like dub it.
I'm so embarrassing. Please dub that.
Yeah.
No, it's a studio at Chelsea Piers.
And you worked there.
We worked
Pretty
there,
often.
or in Milk, or what are the other studios that we would work at? There's a whole bunch of studios.
How did those go? So that's with Vogue.
Yeah, we did a lot for Vogue. And those were just crazy, like in the best possible way. Like so overwhelming and exciting, and we would just, I don't know. I mean, I guess one of my favorite parts of styling is getting to play with all the clothes, but it was so much more fun because it was all like designer. So it would be like, we would have like Alexander McQueen dresses or gowns shipped in like these giant boxes that were like 4 foot, 4x3. And it was like a $21,000 gown being shipped by itself overnight from Paris.
Yeah, just a gown in its own fucking box.
Own box, like
preservation. Yeah.
Yeah, or it would be like DKNY sneakers, or like the newest spring collection of Jordans that haven't released yet. Like I got to play with the coolest shit.
Oh man, that does sound exciting.
It's
like
so
you get to
exciting,
see
like,
shit
oh my
before
God.
people really see it.
Yeah, like it was shit fresh off the runway. So like there's a thing called so whenever there's a runway show, they always take pictures of every single outfit, and it's on Vogue.com or Vogue Runway. And then basically what we would do is we would take the pictures and we would request them from the PR offices, or the PR people, if it was like an in-house or if it was like an out-of-house PR company. And we would be like, hey, I want look 12, 15, and 33 from this show. Can we let me please
You
let me
just
know
send them a number.
You send them
of
a
an
number
image.
and the image, and they'd be like, okay, and then we'll send it, and then they'll send it to us. So it's like the outfit that I saw on Gigi Hadid is like in my hands at this exact moment, and like it's super cool.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, oh, it's because Gigi Hadid, but it was just like the fact that this gown that I saw on the runway, that this image is like all over the magazines, is in my hands. Like that's just crazy. It's like mind blowing to me.
No, yeah, it's an exciting feeling. It's like, especially since like, you know, that's your world. That's like what you live for. Like you're yeah, these pieces that, you know, especially to these designers that you know,
Seems
you
so
don't want to be a
far-fetched
fashion
to
designer,
me.
but yeah, it's like this closeness to it immediately just because you're in the world, right?
Absolutely, it was definitely the closeness of to being in that world. I mean, I was in the world, and of course, I was going to be not playing with the clothes, but working with these clothes because I was working for like larger scale.
I started thinking about playing. You're like, wee, just like throwing a gown up
Oh my god,
to fluff it or something.
Sometimes for like certain shots, we would do that where we would have to like hold things up between shots, or like steam them, or like kind of fluff things up. Yeah, we would do stuff like that for certain shots, but it was more like we would play dress up with these things. It was so funny. We in the office sometimes we would like while we were prepping. So one of the biggest things that we would have to do when it comes to styling or to prepping for a shoot is that we have to collect all the once we collect all the things from the showrooms and from the offices, and they're in all together in our office, we would have to like unpack everything, make sure everything's there, because sometimes like a shoe will be missing, or they'll give you the 2 left shoes, or they give you
Because all that shit is so hectic.
it's so hectic. Like they're dealing with like the PR people are dealing with like 12, 13 emails at once. Like people like, hey, can I have this? Can I have that? Can I have this look? Can I have this look? Can I have that look? Oh, I'm missing this look. Oh, this look is delayed. Like things like that. It's so hectic.
Philip is a good man.
I'm sure he is.
Philip is a good man. You over time work with people, you know, enough times where they feel sort of like family.
Oh,
He's someone that, you know, he's a AC. He's like an assistant camera, so he helps like pull focus and build the camera and just like help with the set shit, and it's like a really important role.
These are things that I want to learn, and I feel like I should know too, because I work closely with these people.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's like especially when you're like on site, you're so busy with your part of the like you're part of the shoot or you're part of like set that you don't really focus or worry about anything else because you're so worried about making sure everything on your end is going to be as perfect as possible.
Yeah, there's a lot of like shit already on your mind, and but that's like the more like you were talking about like more when productions get more serious, you know, there's a lot of this communication that has to happen back and forth, and if you don't have like the right team members, you know, if you don't have the right people present, then it's like a more like confined conversation between just like less people, which is just like more stress because it's too much for like the little number of people. So then you start building out, you know, that team of people, and he's a part of it.
Right.
He's a big part of it. And like, yeah, that AC, I can direct, I can be on set and like focus on cast and like focus on what the next shot is going to be and what we're going to do and talking to the actor, actresses. And he's helping the DP, the director of photography with the camera stuff. So then I just have to be okay. And they let me know when they're ready, you know, and then I just have to say, roll, camera speed, action, boom, get into it.
Right.
And if it was just me alone, imagine. That's how I started. It was just me alone with the camera gimbal and just like, okay, action. And then I'm like shooting. It's like, it's so much stress. And then like, did we get that shot? It's like.
And then you have so much to worry about. And then sometimes, you know, like you aren't able to, sorry, I'm just like casually stretching in the middle of this.
Yoga session.
Woo.
I'm ashamed. I've missed.
This is what so many years of interning have done. They've fucked up my body like permanently from having to carry around like 80, 90 pounds worth of garments and bags.
Back and forth. I just see you
through
rushing.
Manhattan.
Oh,
up
shit.
and down the subways. From office to office, making sure I'm getting there on time before it's too late and before the office closes, or else that $20,000 gown that we needed on set, that was our hero look, is not on set. And yeah, very stressful.
Yeah, shit. I mean, I think it's really important to go through those experiences because like that shit makes you just take everything much more serious and appreciate it. But in the moment, you're like, fuck this. You're like,
I've had fuck ups. I've had so many fuck ups.
Oh man,
I've had so many. Okay, let me not paint a bad picture of myself. I've had it.
No, this is early on anyway. You know,
right.
If we're talking about the beginning of the journey, dude. I mean, I've shot a music video and like lost the card in the beginning. You know, like it's like, bro, I'm sorry, dude, I lost the SD card. We gotta shoot again, man. Let's schedule it out. I was sorry. You know, like shit happens that you don't expect sometimes, and
right.
It's just a part of the beginning. You know? But it's okay. You know, people fuck up in the start. If you don't fuck up in the start, I mean,
are you really?
You fucking even the people on the top, you know, even Steve Jobs, you know, R.I.P. You know, he fucked up in the start, you know.
Yeah, everybody fucked up in the start.
Everybody big fucks up in the start, man. If you don't make mistakes, then you don't have the successes that follow, you know.
Damn, that's some deep shit you just said there, but that is so true.
So true. It's never a full like fucking home run.
It's never, because I mean, how are you gonna hit a home run if you don't, you know, fuck up a few times before?
Yeah.
Or how do you learn how to hit a home run if you don't, you know, get a few strikeouts? Or
the baseball terminology. You're trying to make an analogy.
Yeah.
Nah, don't use some shit you don't know about. You're trying to get baseball. No, you're saying, I don't know too much about baseball. Are you big on sports?
Hell no. Do I really go sports? I'm a fashion person.
Nah, man. There's no time for it. I think you choose your world sooner or later, you know?
Oh, I've chosen my world. That is a world I've kind of like left out on the side.
Left out of the blue.
Yeah, I'm just like watching it like, okay. People talk about sports. I'm like, anyways, so about this dress.
Anyway. Yeah, I was also looking into a bit of like the stuff you've done, and you had some work to do with Oscar de la Renta.
Yes.
Cool. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yes. So one of the stylists that I interned for, her name was Natasha Roy. She styles runway shows for Oscar de la Renta. I don't know if she still does. These are things that I should probably know. Oh my god, I'm so embarrassing. I don't keep up with my research, or I don't do enough research.
That's cool.
I'm just gonna edit that part out. Anyways, yeah. So
no, nothing gets edited out.
Oh god.
Unless you say something very politically incorrect. Like you're a Hitler supporter.
Okay.
I don't know why you told me that the other day that you support Hitler. But
whoa! Now we're throwing.
accusations. I'm sorry, it's a terrible dark joke, guys. It's just a joke. It's just a joke. It's easy to get canceled nowadays, so I just want to make sure.
No, but
I'm not a
Hitler supporter.
Okay. Anyway, moving on.
Moving forward.
So Oscar de la Renta, I only know him because he's Dominican too. So it's like my family sometimes brought him up and in conversation. He's a cool dude, man. He was a cool dude.
He was a very cool dude. He was one of the biggest fashion houses. He started one of the biggest fashion houses to have ever existed on this planet.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
he studied under because I was reading into him a little
Cristobal
bit.
Balenciaga.
Yeah, isn't that fucking cool? How things are just connected sometimes, like,
right? And now two of the biggest fashion houses,
mm-hmm.
but they worked under each other.
They worked
under
each other.
Well, Oscar de la Renta worked under Balenciaga.
Yeah, they're just connected in a meaningful way because that's just not a regular connection. It's like studied under him, like
that's
learned
crazy,
about all this shit, and then became his own monster, his own, not a monster. I mean, you know what I mean? Like
his own
big
guy,
his own brand. Yeah, super cool stuff. How the world works.
I mean, I feel like a lot of brands have ended up like that, but I'm not going to go into that because my research. Oh, I should have brushed up on stuff. Anyways.
Yeah, imagine I just start testing you. How about this? No, yeah, that's not.
I feel like I'm always being tested. No, I'm kidding. But yeah.
By life.
Oh yeah, life. Life is the biggest test.
Always being tested by life.
Always.
Hurdles left and right. I was gonna say, how is it? I mean, you kind of talked a little bit about what you've been up to when you came in, but like being a mother and being in this world, what is the balance like?
Oh God, I don't know. I'm still figuring that out. I'm still trying to figure that out. Motherhood, I mean, that in itself I'm still trying to figure out. And I thought,
yeah, I mean, you're young too, and getting thrown into this fucking very serious predicament alone.
It's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot to deal with and a lot to figure out. But I'm figuring it out. I'm doing the things and all that. So
yeah, no, you're killing it. Leo looks like a happy ass, well-fed, beautiful baby.
Truer than true.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of.
He got a belly.
That hair is nuts. He's gonna be a cool ass kid, because you're cool as shit, and that's usually passed down. He's already looking cool as fuck. I mean, I'm jealous of his long hair.
The genetics went well over there. But yeah, I don't know. Like trying to figure this out is like so overwhelming. It's like trying to my apartment is literally half office, half playroom. Like my living room, I have one giant garment rack full of clothes that I'm either trying to sell or use for shoots. So I have like the giant garment rack over there, just covered and overflowing with clothes and like shoe boxes everywhere. And then I have like bins of like glasses and accessories everywhere. Mm-hmm. And then on the floor are like all of his toys and his books and his like play mats and everything. And
yeah, babies are messy too, man. They just, there's no consideration. They just leave shit around. You're like, oh, mom will get it.
Oh my God.
Mom will fucking get it.
Oh, we're not even there yet. But right now, all he does is just chaos, pure chaos. It's like I try to keep everything under my TV where it's like my books and like office supplies and then his like books and some of his toys, and I keep a bunch of his books in a stack like that, like a column. And the first thing he does when he sees it, he like grabs it and throws all the books onto the floor. And
he's like a fucking cat. You know how they like fucking tossing shit out. I don't know why they do that, but I guess it's
just love chaos.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I think they just like having shit clear because they just want to have their arms and like pat on shit. So if there's stuff there, they're like, oh shit. You might like the sound too of something like falling.
Oh, I never even thought about that.
I think so. Yeah, there's a history, that's a deep primal history where. No, I'm just kidding. Just go off here.
I would have believed that.
Why babies like to hear it falling? No, yeah, babies are just random as shit.
Oh,
you can't predict what they're gonna do next.
Never. Babies are like experiencing the biggest trip of their their lives.
Do you know what your furthest memory is? Like how far back? I can't remember shit as a baby, but I do remember like.
I remember like stuff when I was 3.
3. What's that memory? Is it just vague, like a small moment?
Yeah. Like, I don't know if I think it was like 3 around this time. 3, maybe 4, but I'm pretty sure closer to 3. It was like, what are those things called? Hourglasses?
That you flip?
That you flip
sand?
with sand, yeah, one of those things. and it was like I guess it was like a piece of decor. It wasn't anything fancy or special, but it was in my living room. I just remember I was playing with it because you could kind of, if you like wiggled it, you could take the glass part with the sand out of the little metal holder, and then I would play with it. I dropped it, and then I got in so much trouble
because
I broke it.
Yeah.
And then
Damn.
I just remember like hiding from my father.
You broke an hourglass, and that's like the memory you furthest back.
That's the furthest back.
That's some crazy shit. You broke like time essentially, and it's like zoom. You came into consciousness.
Oh,
You're like, what the fuck? That's pretty cool.
That's the most existential thing I've
That's pretty cool. You broke time, and then you became conscious.
That's
nuts.
That's what
son.
sparked my consciousness.
Is it? But it was really the stress, right? There's oh shit, I'm about to get in trouble.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
shit.
the part that I remember the most.
Yeah. It was a small one too.
It was like this big.
Yeah, because that would make a mess, right? Do you know the history behind that, like hourglass, like whose it was?
Nope, not a clue.
That's cool,
I think
though.
I was too young to have been taught that or to have known or.
Yeah, maybe someone told you like you broke your grandfather's
Oh
hourglass.
God, no!
He brought that from the war. It's like this whole deep history.
Imagine, I should ask my parents. Like, remember that hourglass I broke when I was like tiny? Well, what was about that?
Yeah, no one has hourglasses, so it must have been some, I don't know. Like you've never seen hourglass. They have them in Marshalls.
Yeah, I was gonna say Marshalls does those.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
With the big like tacky ones.
Who's gonna have that? Like, why do you want a constant reminder of how much time you have left in a certain thing? It's like especially gets bigger.
It was for aesthetic purposes, because aesthetic.
That's true. It does look nice, It does kind of attract my minimal taste. It's like, oh, okay.
It wasn't minimal. It was like an antique kind of thing. Oh my god, what if it was that? It was an antique.
Damn, you might have just answered your own question.
That's why I got into it. I broke an antique.
No, that's cool, dude. That's interesting. I'm always curious about like how far people's memories go back, because it's like our brains are just so weird how they work. That shit's in there, but then like, what can we consciously
what do you tap in to unlock that memory?
Yeah, I'm not sure how it works. And then through conversation, usually you can like dig.
That's why you
more.
sparked, like when we were talking earlier, you sparked like a random memory. I'm like, oh shit, I had a job that I worked on at some point, and it was around my birthday too. That like should have gone in my CV. So like random things like that.
Yeah, but now hopefully when you walk out of here, you'll add that in. You'll fix that.
Oh yeah, hopefully I remember to do that.
I'll remind you while I'm editing. Probably I'll bump into it. Be like, oh shit, you were talking about this, big. I got you, yo.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
No, I got you, man. But let's go back into styling, because we're getting into like fucking memories and childhood and shit. I was about to tell my fucking one. I don't want to sidetrack too much. But when you style, like, there's a lot of different elements that come into play, right? Like the texture, the fabric, the pattern, the color, all these things. Like, what are some of like the first few things you look at?
Color.
Mm-hmm.
Totally color. I'm a huge color person. I mean, right now I'm literally just wearing black and white, so that's not the best representation of that, but I'm such a big person when it comes to color. I feel like I almost kind of annoyingly color coordinate everything, or try to color coordinate just about everything that I do, like whether it comes to my personal outfits or like looks that I create.
Mm-hmm.
I try, either it's monochromatic or I do color coordination with like from the shoes down to the socks to the earrings to the nails or whatever. Like I try to make sure that everything is cohesive or matches it.
Yeah, color is really important too. There's like certain films that are all about that. There's like this film Carol, which has Kate Blanchett, I believe, and it's like a love story. This older woman kind of falling in love with this younger woman. It's very mutual. They both like each other, and they kind of pursue this thing in a time period where lesbian love wasn't really accepted.
Okay.
And there's these certain scenes, like there's a scene in a restaurant where Kate Blanchett's like waiting for the girl to come in. She's wearing red. She's like super fancy too. She's like a higher up, and the girl's more like she was just working at a store or something like that, like this store in New York, and that's how they kind of met. And she has like this beautiful red outfit, red seat, red curtain that's nearby. It's like this restaurant, so it's dim lighting too, and it's like this redness to it, because red conveys a certain meaning in film too, or just in general, like love or passion or secrecy. All these things, are communicated So to me, yeah, color is like immediately one of the more important things that I look at when I'm making a mood board or a treatment for a project. So it's pretty cool that kind of translates like to your world, you know, immediately, because that's we're in cohesion, you know.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like styling is a part of the filmmaking world where we need these outfits to convey a certain thing about a character. And, you know, their colors, like it's cool, you know. We're in the same world essentially.
Yeah, our worlds interact or intersect very often. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I'm terrible at movie references because my brain like doesn't.
Yeah, Carol's like a left field one. Like that's not a mainstream movie whatsoever.
But I've never watched any of these songs myself, but Wong Kar-wai.
I was about to mention him too. Yeah.
I've seen his movie. I haven't actually watched the movies, but like for references, like those are like crazy when it comes to colors and just like the styling. Like that's, I feel like Wong Kar-wai films are always referenced when it comes to the costume design world, which is like a subsection, or like, is it like a sister world to styling? Yeah, like costume design and styling, like
for sure. Costume department, same world where you have the same tools. If you have the with like the costume designer, if they're making pieces for the shoot, or if they're like styling.
If they're styling, yeah.
You know, it's the same world. It's like, okay, making sure all these characters and all these people have their outfits steaming and making sure they're good to go, and like paying attention to the little things when the camera's about to roll, you know, make sure everything looks good.
Right. That's honestly, like at some point I do think I want to go into costume design at some point, because I feel like it's like the perfect marriage of styling and fashion design, but in a more creative way. I mean, you can get creative, of course, with like regular styling and fashion design, but when it comes to costume design, when there's like a film and like a real concrete story behind it, it's like you can do so much with it, or it's so much easier. I feel like, at least for me, would be to follow. That would be like a guideline to follow. Like you have to follow the storyline. Yeah,
there's definitely like this provided structure that comes with it, because you're trying to like communicate something, you know. You're trying to whether you're trying to match things in a location, you know, or you have this color palette, because a lot of projects are there's a lot of things established in pre-production just in terms of the look and the atmosphere and the tone. So like colors, the materials these people are wearing, if it's a time period piece or something like that, then it's like it's like even more niche of like a area of clothing. But yeah, it gets like much more honed in, where, you know, fashion is such a, okay, who are you working with, you know, basically. And then it's like making sure the run of show goes well, whether it's a shoot or one way or whatever. It's like making sure everything is just looks well and it is what it is. And then filmmaking creatively, I feel like that's where a stylist can shine, because the stylist can come into a film and there's already like these ideas that they have to follow, you know, but that's where they can like kind of expand more their mind.
Right.
Because what if the piece is like a thriller?
Right.
And it's like in the Midwest, you know, there's already kind of like outfits, I feel like, that come into your head, whether like, if there's a shoot here and it's like in a metropolis, then what are those outfits that have to fit, you know? That's where I guess it becomes like fun.
Yeah. That's why I'm like, I want to get into costume design at some point. Like, it just sounds like it's so much. I like the structure.
Yeah, and you're already there, you know.
Right.
In terms, I mean, like of taste and like knowing how to like accumulate these pieces to make a cohesive look. I feel like you're already there, and it's just being given the opportunity, right?
Costume design. Am I gonna move to California now and pursue costume design?
Oh man, I mean, there's films being shot all the time in New York.
That's true.
You know, and I'm actually working on a short film soon too. I'm trying to, because that's always what I wanted to do, get into narrative work, and it's more so tricky because it's like self-financed. Unless you have like a grant or you get money from somewhere else, it's like tough. But there's a film that I want to do that's it's kind of dark and gritty.
Ooh.
And I feel like you would fit so well in that, you know. And the tones are really muted. It's like muted blues, muted browns, grays. Like it's a very desaturated palette, you know. But that's what I'm talking about. Like a lot of stuff like is established in pre-production, and then that's the cool part. You're handed this thing, and you're like, okay, let me do my part, you know. Because you're obviously hired like for your taste and style, right? Typically when you're on a shoot,
right?
do you feel like by now you have a particular style, or it's kind of like it molds?
I think it molds. I think it definitely molds. It's more so like with, I mean, as with anything, you should like not adhere, but like follow the mood board, like follow where things are going. But I think if I were to say that I have a particular taste or style, it would be like, I'm a person that likes excess. I like very extravagant. God, is that even the question that you were asking? Like
layered? No, yeah.
No, like just extravagant, like very layered, like heavy, like heavy-handed. Like you say, like less is more. I'm like, no, more is more, and I like
more is more.
More is more. I like to go as far as I possibly can to produce an image.
Yeah, and do you have kind of like
I love accessories. I love
like adding these details and extra layers, right?
Yeah, that's definitely my thing. I'm far off from minimalism.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, as you can see by my giant earrings. And this is as minimal as it gets for me.
Yeah, well, I mean, what I always like appreciate about you is that you really care about like what you're wearing, which is like a representation of your personality, like what you put on and the colors you choose or the type of shirt, whatever, speaks volumes of your character. And you always have some fucking cool shit on, man. And you say your mind is like crazy, but then like you look at the fit and it's so thought out and like, what I
think it's the only thing that my brain like allows me to like think out,
to figure out. It's just like, yo, let me look, put these colors together, right? Like get this shit together, look good.
That's it. At the very least, it's like one of my things. If I have to go out with a cool fit, it always has to be a cool fit, because I could leave this earth at any given moment. If my fit is not top tier, if it's not cool, then I can't do it. Like, I'm not going to leave the house.
Shit, that is. I mean, yeah, that's the way to live. You die like in just a plain white tee and like fucking shorts. Like cargo shorts or some shit. Just like, damn, and then that's you. Okay, what can you do? But then boom, you die with a fucking like dope ass fist and jewelry successful. Like, damn, okay, this person was fresh when they died. Fuck. Somebody just grabs the bracelet. Damn, this just grabs the bracelet. I don't know. There's these things now that you're providing to people. That stumble upon the scene. It's all about community.
Take my ear.
At the end of the day,
take my kicks.
Take what you want. Like when you die, you just have a sign. Take what you want. You just have your fucking necklace ready to go. Right. Do you wear a lot of necklaces too?
Oh yeah. I'm more so of an earring person, but necklaces too. I feel like I have all of like 5 necklaces, but I always wear them. I used to have a lot of chains, but most of my chains either broke or I have to detangle them.
What's your favorite accessory to like
earrings?
Filter through earrings?
Earrings. I'm a huge earrings person. Yeah. But my biggest thing is that they're always big earrings, like giant,
like hoops or like
giant hoops. They're
like lassos, like shit you could use, like in the moment.
Toss, like a ring toss. No, not like that.
Like a spoon. You have like on your earrings. You ever put utensils on your ear? No, it's never gone that far. It's never that abstract.
I could get that abstract. It's just I have yet to come across the perfect pair of spoon and utensil.
Right, that's the.
I mean, one day actually, and it's gonna be on my to-do list, or on my hunt list to find a pair of utensil earrings.
No, but Vic, I wish you good luck with the goals you have for this year. Thank you for coming on.
Of course, thank you for having me.
Oh yeah, it was awesome. I'm glad you came, and I'm glad we kind of opened up a little bit of the world of being a stylist and a mom.
And a mom.
At the same fucking time. It's tricky shit, man. But thank you so much.
Thank you.
Take care, guys. Peace. Shit.